Hi, welcome to NDE TV. I'm Peggy Robinson. Today's guest is David Moquin, and we got to know each other pretty well yesterday. He helped me with a trauma we had, and his psychic abilities really helped. And so I'm really excited to hear his near-death experience today. Hi, David.
Good morning. Good morning, Peggy. It's been a real pleasure meeting you. It's been a pleasure going through something with you too. It was very interesting and it came out a wonderful ending, and I'm looking forward to some really good things coming out of that.
Yeah. Now, I'll just let the audience know one of our adopted daughters was missing, and we were pretty frantic, and she was found yesterday, and he helped me through that. And so let's hear about your near-death experience, David. You can start wherever you like and take as long as you like.
Okay. Actually, as you're speaking, I thought of reframing this and sort of saying what kind of a person I was before, who I am now, and how the near-death experience made all that happen. I think framing that, uh, I think give it a better texture. Um, Before my near-death experience, I was I'd gone to engineering school and I worked in the trades. And at one point, I went back to college to meet girls, and I got my industrial arts degree. So I became a teacher. I was a machine shop teacher, and eventually I became an electronics teacher and worked in that industry of the computers and all of that. And today, I run the Psychic Bridges workshop. I've been doing this for about 17 years now, where I help people actually have conversations with their loved ones on the other side. And I just had a person call yesterday. She lost her mother, and was able to have the mother speak to her and her hear it and be able to talk back and forth. This is something that's taken me 17, 18 years working with people to come up with a program that very, very quickly, and I can do this in this interview, by the end, have you able to connect and two-way conversation with your loved ones on the other side, which I think is the ultimate gift that I've been looking for a way to do efficiently. And maybe you can all help me with that experience. But
Okay.
anyway, it was in at the end of 1991, I believe. It was the last day of school at Central High School in Springfield, Mass. I had been sick for 2 or 3 days, and I had a swimming pool. I used to stand in it up to my neck in the evening and feel better for some reason. I didn't know what the illness was. I just had terrible headaches and the chills. It was the last day of school. I barely got to school. I kept blacking out while I was driving. And finally, about 9 o'clock, I went to the principal's office and I said, Neil, I've got to go home. I'm just too sick. I've got to go home while I can still drive. I got about halfway home. I was on a bridge going over the Connecticut River, and I had to pull over and put my flashes on. I could not see. And police soon arrived, and they made arrangements to have somebody drive me home and with my car. And I promised them I would call a doctor. I didn't. I got in my pool. About 5 o'clock in the evening, I was out of the pool. I laid down. I really didn't feel well. And I got a call from my eldest daughter's boyfriend, who said that he was breaking up with her and she went and took a bottle of aspirin or something. He's taking her to the hospital. She tried to commit suicide. So I got in my van and I drove to the hospital. Now, this is weird. I can remember turning into the parking lot of the hospital. That's the last thing I remember. And I don't know how much time passed, but I woke up in a hospital bed. And I guess my car drove into the lobby of the, the hospital. I entered
Oh,
it physically. I guess it didn't do a great deal of damage, but I don't know what happened exactly. But here I am with all these tubes and stuff. Temperature, afterwards, they told my temperature is about 107. And I'd had it for a while. And I guess I went pretty much in a coma. I do remember opening my eyes one time and seeing a lot of my friends and my wife to be in the room. I don't recall anything they said. I can't recall whether, I'm not sure I saw them with my eyes because it didn't seem like I was seeing them from the bed. And it felt like that was so long ago. I think I saw myself in the bed, but I'm not sure of it. but I did see them there, and then I didn't, and I was gone. And then for whatever period of time it was, that I might have been in a coma or out of touch with people, I was on the other side, and I think it was like in and out. I saw several past life experiences. Quite interesting. One was I felt I was in the ocean. It was cold. It was at night. There was lightning going on, and I'm looking up. I'm like almost under the ship, and it's a clipper ship, the old-fashioned clipper ship of the 1800s. And it looked like it was like 9 million miles high. And then the wave took me under. I came back up somehow. Now the ship is a couple 100 feet away. Then I go down again. And the third time I came up, the ship is probably a quarter of a mile away. And I can remember saying, well, so much for that. And I went down, and then that was the end of my experience. I had another one where I was like in Saudi Arabia, someplace like that. And it was my job. They had a lot of animals, like sheep and I'm not sure what they were. I just know I had this big wooden box, and I had these little tabs that I had to, like they were accounting for the animals or something. And that was my job to keep track of them. And I had another one. I think in India or something, a little boy with other boys catching fish in a muddy river. And I knew they were past life experiences. I felt them, and I just knew. The funny thing about being on the other side of having this experience is you don't know how you get anywhere. You just are. You don't know what an experience is. It just is, and it's totally acceptable. And we don't even ask questions when we're in that state. These are the things that I have pulled back. I don't have the kind of memories a lot of people with near-death experiences have, but it was 15 years later that I realized I had one. So I really did a lot of dismissing. But I do remember the love. The two things that struck out the most was this: I'm home, and it's all love, and I wish everybody could understand that. I'm home. It's that love that we seek from the time we're born. We're seeking the love of understanding who we are. We don't even understand ourselves, but we want to be understood. Totally loved. I don't think there's words for what I'm trying to say here, the kind of love I'm talking about. The sense of it's all one. We're all one, and there's no sense of time. Like it's all the time is the same. And the colors and the beauty. Some people describe fields of flowers and stuff. I had that. I saw fields of flowers and streams, but they weren't the way we see them. It's just like, okay, that's what these things are, but I sense them in a way that was so dynamic I can't describe it. The light is another thing. We have never experienced light is the nearest thing I can do to describing it, but it's not any kind of light experience that we've ever had with our humble little eyes on this little humble little planet. It is totally different. The other thing that I recall, and like I say, I was in and out all the time, so I don't have a sequence to these things. I had the sense that I looked up and I saw what looked like stars, but they weren't stars, and they turned into what do you call it? When you see a picture, the holograms. It's like I saw hundreds and hundreds of holograms, all at the same time. And it was like I was experiencing myself. I was people, things. I was a little dog that got put to sleep. I brought it to the shelter because it was a lost dog, and I brought it there, and they were going to euthanize it. And I should have taken the dog home. I should have done it. I didn't, and I left the dog there. And I thought of that all my life. And in that hologram, that was supposed to happen because it was a very important thing for me to understand for later when I would be thinking of in terms of animals and life, which is unexpected. And I came away not ever thinking there was a God judging me. I wasn't even judging myself. It was like this lifetime here, when we're there, we understand. but we couldn't understand why we were here. That's the way I felt about it. That little element of this thing is for that purpose. So we're here, we can't understand it to a measure here, but to a greater measure when we experience it again that way. Coming back was rather interesting. It's kind of a story in itself. All of a sudden, now this is crazy. I saw my doctor, and I'm not sure my memory serves me perfectly, whether it was a minister and a priest, or just a priest or a minister. I can't recall. I felt there was two of them. I felt they were in the foot of my bed or something, because I felt like I was there. And I can remember the doctor, Dr. Enko, said, please give the last rites to Mr. Moquin when you visit him this evening, because I don't think he's going to be with us at 6:30 tomorrow morning when I make my rounds. Now that's kind of strange, because they're in my room. All right. I thought they were. Okay. Right. I also had other out-of-body experiences. I was with my parents in Florida, 1,500 miles away, when they're celebrating their anniversary, and my sister got them lobster. I was there, saw my father joking I lived the whole thing, but my body is in the hospital bed. I saw my wife-to-be with our 5 kids around the table. They were throwing food. She's crying. She doesn't know I'm going to make it or not. She can't even come and visit me because she's not my wife yet. And doesn't know what's happening with me. And the kids are just obnoxious and horrible to her. I had that experience while I was there. And then, but I just got to backtrack. After my doctor said these things to the priest, the minister, somehow I woke up. And I could see. And there was a nurse just walking out of the room. And I said, nurse, can you get me a drink? I'm thirsty. I thought she was going to have a heart attack. I didn't realize I'd been in a coma. And she took off. And I said, I was pretty rude, And of course, she came back, and a lot of doctors and nurses, and they like them scrambling around, checking this, checking that, talking to me. I can't remember anything they said, because I just was thirsty. They brought a pitcher of water, and then I can remember distinctly, I saw this fruit basket on a table over there. Somebody must have sent it or something. And there was this big pineapple in the middle of it. I hated pineapple. I didn't want to be in the same state with a piece of pineapple. With old candole things, my mother used to make us eat that. I didn't want to smell, looks. I don't even mention the word. I'd be stricken out of a dictionary. But boy, I wanted that pineapple. I mean, you have no idea how much I wanted that pineapple. And I asked for it to be cut up. So they're messing around with me. The water's brought. I had intravenous lines in anyway. And they chop all the fruit up. And for the next 3 hours, I ate all the pineapple first. And I ate all the stuff, and I drank, and I peed. Got up and peed. Back and forth, back and forth. By 6 o'clock in the morning, my temperature went down to, they said it was up around 106, 105, 106 when they all came in the room. It was down to 101 by morning. Speaking to a nurse, she later told me that I wanted that pineapple because if I hadn't gotten the electrolytes from that pineapple, the way I was drinking the water, that might have caused my death. Don't know. And like I say, this is a long time ago, but these are the things I remember the most. A day or so later, I was released from the hospital. I called back several times. I wanted to know more about what happened. They didn't want to talk about it. The doctors didn't even want to know it happened. So 2 weeks later, I had to go see my physician, Dr. Enko, for a checkup. And I'm in there, and I thanked him for saving my life. Because when I heard that they thought I was going to be dead in the morning, that's when I woke up, and that's when I decided I was going to live. Oh, I left out something. in that interim, I remember them saying that I have to go back. And I said, now when I say they're saying, I don't see people, there's no voices. You don't have a body to hear and eyes. You just, the transfer of information is done a different way. I can't explain it. You just know. I'm having a conversation without a mouth and a vocal cords right there, not in my body. All right. And I remember saying, I don't want to go back. I don't think anybody wants to go back. It's compression, back in that with gravity and have to go to the bathroom and eat. I don't want any of that stuff. I'm happy. Leave me alone, okay? I'm good here. I'm home. I don't want to leave again. You know, I just got home from camp. And well, I don't know where that came from. Somebody just brought that to me. So anyway, then I can't recall whether they said it or I recalled and decided that I had to come back because the at that time 5 children, 3 of mine and 2 of Jeannie's, my kids had been orphans, and I was their only parent, and I'd raised my 3 girls for several years alone. Anyway, I shut my eyes, I think, and I'm back. And that's when I saw the nurse at the door and all that. You know, I got the sequence backwards here. And that's, you know, but I think that whole coming back thing was after I heard the doctor talking to the minister or priest. So here I am in the doctor's office 2 weeks after I get out. And I say this to him, you saved my life, because when you said this, and I reiterated all the conversations that took place, I'll never forget, he said, he's Filipino. And he said, well, Mr. Moquin's like this. Everything you just said is absolutely accurate, except for one small detail. That interview took place. That discussion took place in my office, 1.5 miles from the hospital. So, but didn't know. I kind of dismissed it. I didn't know how to handle it. That can't be true. I just didn't visit it. I just stayed away from it. I don't know if that makes any sense. I just, what? I just can't process this thing. This is not making any sense to me. And I didn't process it. And got back to my regular life. But this is very important. From the moment I got back home, I was a different person. And I'm going to say something now that I haven't heard other people on these kind of presentations addressing. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. But when I came back, I didn't feel like I was one person. I always thought I was David Moquin. I am who I am, But I would know things that I have no business knowing. How did I know that? I would understand things, know things are going to happen. I loved everybody. I mean, everybody. I love everything. My cup of coffee, I love it. I mean, really, every atom in it, the intelligence of the universe is in every atom of that. It senses and feels everything I do. That's what I felt was true, and I don't know. But it hasn't changed. And I used to be very competitive, ping pong, golf, anything. I had to win. I'm rooting for the other guy as much as for me. The score doesn't mean anything to me. It's now I enjoy each and every, from playing pool, I enjoy each and every shot. I enjoy every moment with the people I'm around. And I am rooting for every shot to be made by anybody. I have a deep interest in everybody's heart, particularly people that are acting miserably, people that are angry. It's like I feel it inside. They're shouting for somebody to love them. They're shouting for some understanding, that they're really uncomfortable with themselves. That all happened instantly almost. The minute I got back to my house, I was a different person. And this feeling of being on the other side, I've never left it. I'm still there. I'm writing a book. It's called Both Sides Now. And it's because as I speak to you, this moment. Kind of there and here at the same time. I don't know if you can understand it. Not in a big visual way, but and not in the way I had with all the colors. But yeah, I'm not all the way back here. In fact, I've had a few instances recently. I almost died twice this year. I was working on my dock. I put a new dock in last year and it broke loose in the ice and floated out. And this is in April. Water was very cold. A friend of mine came over to help me and got in the water and I towed it back. And it had moss all over the first step. I got it up on the rocks and I was on the wrong side of it. I wanted to come over to see Dean, talk to him. And as I put my foot up on the dock and stepped on the slick, slimy board, my foot, I had taken the weight off the other foot. The foot slid right behind me. In a microsecond, I knew I was dead. I knew I broke my neck and I knew my right eye was gone. There was a big rock right there in the corner of the dock. I'm on the way down. It's only a 2-foot fall. I'm leaning forward and that foot's going out from under me. In that microsecond, I look and I see myself sitting on the opposite edge of the dock, and I had not got in the water. I see Dean talking to my face. And he says, Dave, are you okay? What happened? I didn't see it. I don't know how I missed it. He saw me falling, and he saw me in the corner of the dock, but he didn't see anything in between, and it happened in a microsecond. It blew his mind. He's talking to me. I'm 10 feet away looking at the two of them. He's looking at me, and I'm just in a stare. And then I popped back into my body. And after a few minutes, I said, look, I'm going up and change. I thought I'd cut the top of my foot. I felt it was bleeding because I could feel as I was going down. Something ripped the top of my foot. I wanted to get up and take care of that. And I got in the bathroom. There's not a scratch on it anywhere. And I had not fallen down. Thought I was imagining, except Dean was there. Thought, no, you didn't imagine it. I can't figure out how you move. And so I said, let's go out to eat. So I took him out to lunch and we went to a place and I ordered, and 2, 3, maybe even 4 times, I'd leave my body and see the two of us there and come back again. Mid-conversation, I'd come back and answer his question and I'd be back out watching the two of us his ass. And it took me over an hour to stay back in my body. That was last summer. And then in November, I went out to eat with my 92-year-old mother-in-law and my wife and her brother and his wife. And I choked on a piece of steak. And nobody's, I couldn't stall water, nothing. I get up and something just made me run to the men's room. And I had to stop my mind, throw my back against the wall. I'm sure they put that there. I got there, turned around, threw my back against the wall, and it went down. But I could feel there was a reason for that. I don't know what it is yet. But my brother-in-law now is in the hospital in critical condition. He's got this condition whereby he's not manufacturing blood. You have to give him transfusions. So I'm asking for some help with that. So anyway, I got sidetracked then. But it's all part of this near-death thing because sometimes we don't experience it only once.
I pray your brother-in-law gets a miracle.
Yeah, I'm sensing that. I'm asking for it. They've already found out what it was. They already got some medicines. They're working on things. They thought he was out for the count, thought he was dead. I got my whole group together, put it out on our website, Facebook site, everybody that joins me on Tuesday nights, and sent the healing, and the very next day, there was sort of a breakthrough. So I don't know if it's connected or not, but certainly, and I thank you for your effort. So that was my near-death experience, but that was only the beginning. Now, mind you, I couldn't tell anybody about it because I thought I hallucinated the whole thing. I really did. It was, and if I didn't hallucinate it, I wanted to own it. It was so precious. I didn't want to give it away or lose it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does, because we feel people can take it from us. If we talk about it, if they say we're crazy, if they convince us hallucination or something, it's like, I'm just going to keep quiet because they'll take it from me. I know
Yeah.
I'm never feeling like that.
Exactly. Very succinct. That was very, very good. I can remember that. Yeah. It's like they're gonna prove to me that it was just a wacky dream. They're gonna prove to me. And I didn't want anybody proving to me it didn't happen because it was just so wonderful. And they couldn't understand it anyway. So what's the point in even trying to explain it?
Right.
So we move ahead about 15, 16 years. And all of a sudden, and in that time, I'd be with people and I'd want to say things that were absolute lies. I can remember one specifically. I had my engineering consulting business. I played in the band nights. I taught full time in a school, taught electronics, and I also was in a business with three other guys. We did remodeling and building additions and garages and stuff like that. At the end of the year, we put some of the money aside. We take our wives out and we go out to dinner and to buy all we want to eat and drink and splurge because our wives are so kind to let us do that. And this one time, guy's name is Joe. He's there with his wife, and she orders for dessert apple pie. And I'd had two or three glasses of beer, not drinking much. They affect me very quickly. And so I was unable to stop myself from lying. And I said to her, I said, oh, that apple pie, my grandmother used to make it that way with the fork things all around it and this and that. And I can see it. And as I'm saying this, I know I'm lying. It's not true. It is just absolutely not true. That the apple pie and the darn screen door we open and slam, there's tears in it. My grandfather never got around to fixing it, which is a lie. My grandfather fixed everything. I don't remember any screen door. And I'm seeing these people that I never saw before, and I'm describing it like they're my grandparents. And I'm really upset with myself, and I can't stop myself. I can't stop myself. I'm saying it. And then she says to me, oh my God, she says, she says, that is so incredible. My grandmother did make her pies that way, and that damn screen door, and he never fixed it. And those exactly the same things he used to say. And I'm saying, oh, thank God. Thank God for that. But I still hadn't made the connection that I had brought her grandparents to it. I didn't know what was happening. I thought it was just a liar.
Have you ever wondered? I mean, I don't want to change your interpretation of your NDE, but have you ever wondered if those weren't past lives, but maybe you were other places experiencing other people's lives because you were experiencing her life?
Mhm.
Or that you feel though those were your lives though in your
No,
NDE?
no. No, I don't figure that one was that because I've brought tens of thousands of messages since then. I literally, what we'll talk about this, and I would like in this interview, make sure we find some time for me to teach people how they can experience this themselves.
Okay.
Because I don't see that happening. And this is why I'm still alive. This is why I didn't die last summer. Uh, people need to know that their loved ones are part of them, every atom of their body, and with them all the time. And I'll bring some examples of how they come and they explain that they're with somebody all this time. In fact, I'm going to get to that quick. I think we're getting to the essence of why we need to talk today. So anyway, that happened. And then I started having real dreams. I'd wake my wife up. I said, write this stuff down. She'd write it down, and in 48 hours, that whole thing would take place, every single detail. We were one time watching something on TV as a news commentator or somebody up there, and I turned to her. I says, it's too bad her son has got this kidney disease that they can't seem to solve. And she says, what are you talking about? Her son. You know she has a son? I just know her son is dying of something with the kidneys. And about a week later, that person wasn't on. It was explained that their son passed because of his kidney disease. And my wife said, whoa, this is getting a little bit, because this is happening all the time, So she sees this ad in the paper or something about Holyoke Community College. They have this psychic kind of thing going on. It's a one-night program. She signs me up for it. I didn't want to go to it, but I went. And it was Reverend Stephen Herman, an international medium, that was there. And the only time I ever had a recording device, that morning I bought one. I brought it and I recorded the message he brought me, and I've never used it since. This was a one type thing. Why it was all designed, I guess. And I'm up there. In fact, two of the women that were there were deans of colleges I worked with. I had developed some programs with various colleges and companies called the top program. I won't divert here. What I'm saying is I didn't want to be there. When he got up and said that he's going to bring dead people to us, that was it. I'm an engineer. You know, I'm a Newtonian guy here. And this is impossible. This guy's a wacko. I want to be out of here. And he walks up to me, he says, Mr. Moquin. Of course, I was the only male there, so I wasn't too hard for him to know who I was. He said, Mr. Moquin, he says, I know you want to leave. Would you please stay here? I'm being told that they've worked really hard for you to get what you're going to get tonight. So I agree. Anyway, he did bring me my message. It was my father. I was blown away. There was absolute proof that this is so. There's no way anybody would know it. It was probably the most perfect message I ever heard him bring, because I did camps with him a couple of years later. It was an amazing message. I got home and I transcribed it. I have it today and I can send it to anybody. I have the absolute first, word for word, the first message I ever got. And as a scientist, I knew that instant, that very instant, that this is. It's not maybe, could be, no doubt in my mind. And I sent an intent out there, whoever I allow somebody to come to, that it's their job to do the same thing, to make sure that whoever comes through, they know exactly who it is and what they need, and bring them what they need right now. And not to embarrass me, because I'm uncomfortable with this, you know. And for the last 18 years, they have serviced thousands and thousands of people in just wonderful ways. And I'm just so glad I can be part of it. And I think I'm going to kind of stop there, see if you have any questions or anything.
Okay. So you said you're going to teach us what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. What I meant was, if you had any questions about my near-death part, because I wanted to go to the next part, what I did with it after that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Steve Herman, he said he had a full workshop of mediums, but he was being told I was going to be a master teacher of what he does. By the way, Steve's a very, very good medium. And he wanted me to join him in October to his camp. Well, I went to it. Actually, I thought it was all pretty silly. I didn't hear any messages that were anything like what I got. And it was a Saturday morning, and we did what they call psychometry. They have a basket, and everybody put something in it, and everybody pulled something different out and see what you pick up for the other person. And I really wanted to watch the Red Sox game instead, but here we are. So I was the last one, and I said to Steve, I said, I've got an earring here. I'm not getting anything. You know, I'm ready for lunch. And he said this to me. He's never done it since. He said, David, would you please stand up? And I did. He says, I just want you to go to people and just make up a story. Just make up a lie. Well, I can do that. Make up a story so I can go to lunch. You got it, you know. The very first person I went to, I remember saying in front of him, I says, I'm hearing a big band playing Moonlight Serenade. I feel this is a gentleman, it's his 50th wedding anniversary. He's dancing with his wife. I feel like this may be your father. And I think I'm making this up, see? And he feels a twitch in his cheek. And then this just came out of my mouth. Then he tells me that he died of a stroke 2 weeks later. This is Bob Leo, who's also one of the very few engineers like me that had near-death experience and is now a great medium. And I just saw him crying there. And then I went around, I just spoke to everybody in the place. And then everybody disappeared. Steve's talking to me. I go downstairs for lunch, and everybody's got their bowl. It was all vegetarian stuff. It all looked like porridge to me. And nobody's sitting down. I mean, I sat down, they all gathered around. They all explained to me, because many of them I brought them by name. I pretty much 90% of everything I bring, I insist, let them know, use their name or whatever. Um, they were real readings. I said, wow, that's all there is to this? Because then I remembered that woman and her apple pie. So that's what this is all about. Holy mackerel. They've been trying to work with me all this time, and it's just simply just let go, and whatever pops in your head, you send an intent, uh, and let them have it. They just do it. Stay out of it.
It's weird how it works. Because first time I noticed something weird was the adopted kids all come from school one day, and one of the girls was upset. Shalina, it's like, "What's wrong?" She's, "Oh, I have to write a story, and I don't know how to write a story. And I don't want to write a story." I said, "Well, give it to me." I never do the kids' homework, but I was just like, "Give it to me." And so the kids went to watch TV, and I go upstairs. I get on the computer, and I just type up something, whatever comes to mind, and here you go. And as I hand it to them, they're watching. Oh shoot. Oh.
Something.
It's a true story. They're telling stories that happened. Oh my gosh, I didn't know I'd forget the name of it. I'll think of it here in a minute. And so they're telling the story about this guy that was he come in to fix this guy's internet, and all of a sudden he had a psychotic moment, and he started like stabbing this person, and it was what I just wrote.
Yep. I knew you were going to say that.
I'm
They
like,
do
what?
this to have us trust them. They do these things. They're amazing, just so we can trust them. Yep.
So
Absolutely.
every time I watch that show now, I cannot think of what's called, but I don't watch it anymore because it's just like it's too freaky. It's like there's some kind of weird thing going on when I watch that show about stuff that's already happened. And if I think of it, I'll mention it, but I can't think of what it's called right now. It's an
Yeah, I
older
get that all
program.
the time. Yeah. It's like, this is what I say. We've got one foot on both sides. And I'm comfortable with it. All I could just talk about that. I want to get to something here very, very quickly, and that's healing. All right. I didn't think of this in terms of healing. And word about me got out there, and I was sent to a spiritualist church. I attended it, and the minister never even introduced himself to me, just kind of off his own. And afterwards, we get downstairs after the service and have coffee. And very quickly, people would gather around my table, and we'd have coffee, and their loved ones would come to them. It's just like talking. I've got several people with you right now. I got a Rosie or Roseanne trying to come to you. And that's when I want to bring. Maybe that's why I've got her coming, because there was a rose that's very important in this conversation today. So anyway, people loved it, and their loved ones would come to them, and oftentimes they'd be talking about something. A loved one would come in to participate in the conversation. Just visiting. It's just like having a coffee time with all your relatives have been gone for 20 years. It was fun. Well, the minister got wind of it, and he got upset. And there's one November morning, I'm in the back pew, because I really don't like services. I'm just not a religious person. Brought up Catholic. I have a disdain for. I don't enjoy the singing. I don't enjoy all. I'm just there because there's a place where people believe in this, and I can bring them their loved ones. I wouldn't dare bring it anywhere else. That's the only reason why I attended. And this medium, I was the last one she came to. I was in the back pew, and I had my eyes shut, and my grandmother and my mother were talking to me. And she says, "Sir, are you sleeping back there?" And open my eyes. I said, "No." Talking to my mother and my grandmother. She said, "Well, I've got them here right now, and here's what they have to say." She says, "Starting this moment, they're going to be with you for your entire journey." She says, "What were they saying to you?" "They're telling me to listen to you." Everybody in the place laughed. Afterwards, the minister uh, came up to me, and he was miffed because I was bringing people readings. He says, You shouldn't be bringing people readings. This is a spiritualist church." That didn't make any sense to me. Huh? What are you talking about? There's a swimming pool. You're not supposed to swim. Uh, and he said, "I want you to take this Morris Pratt course." And he gave me a paper with all the stuff on it. And he says, "After you do 3 lessons, I'm going to put you up there, and you're going to see you don't know what you're doing. You'll fall on your face." Well, I did. And I did the Morris Pratt thing, and I got the credentials from it. But it was a pretty deep program, loads and loads of reading and spitting it back, but there's hardly a thing there that I have found useful. It was really a waste of my time. But anyway, when the time came, he had me get up, and the first, if you bring a real astounding message, the people can write this affidavit paper for you. It doesn't happen often. I mean, now he's considering me his student, see? And so I brought 3 messages, and afterwards he was so mad at me because I brought people by name. You know, I've got a Robert. No, he says his name is Bobby, as he passed 2 weeks ago, and you and your son were fighting over him last night. And then he brought what each one of them needed to know. That was one of my very first messages. He scolded me in front of everybody about using names. Don't ever use names. I didn't decide to. That wasn't my decision. I just allowed this thing to work, and that's what they prefer to do. And they said Bobby. That's what she called him, Bobby. And then, you know, everything was perfect. Well, guess what? I got 3 affidavits that day.
Yeah, what?
3 affidavits, all 3 readings. People wrote up a paper. They almost never did that. The following week, I didn't know that a student's supposed to just do it once. I started doing it every week. I did it for 15 consecutive weeks. I brought 3 messages just before whoever the medium of the day was. I got 3 affidavits every week. At the end of the 6 weeks, he told me I didn't need affidavits anymore. And he made the announcement that affidavits were needed.
Unsolved Mysteries. That's the name of it.
What's that?
Unsolved Mysteries. That's what I
Yeah,
was
yes,
thinking.
yeah. Do you remember a series that was called Sensing Murder or something like that? It was Pamela, what's her name? Okay, I wrote it down in my notes here. Pam Coronado, is her name. She had a TV series. She and another medium, the police would call them into a police station on a case. They would keep them separated so they couldn't, and they would give them materials, psychometry, and see what they could pick up about the murder of a person. Then they'd bring them separately, of course, to the location where it took place, and they would help them solve murders. When she came to the East Coast, she wanted to set up a thing for finding missing children. And I was contacted because I found some missing people and other things. The tools we have with us is just mind-boggling, all the things we can do. And she wanted me to work with her on that, to go to her weekend retreat, which is like $400. There was that weekend. It was a Friday night I saw her. And I said, I don't know. I've talked to my wife. She says, no, I don't want you to pay. I want you to be there. They had 25 detectives from New York City and Manhattan. And it was a training program. And yeah, that's because you said that show. It was just amazing. I found that I could do things I didn't think I could do. She would show me a picture. I could tell you how she was murdered and where it was. And I can remember one specifically, showed me this pretty little girl. And I said, she went to a frat party and she either drugs or alcohol. She passed out. They thought she was dead. They put her in the trunk of her car and dumped the car off. And she died in the trunk of the car. She suffocated. And then I gave her the license plate of the car. And I'll tell you, I had the attention of 25 detectives because it was accurate. And it opened my eyes because, like I say, I just start to talk. I don't know what I'm going to say. And I'm more blown away than the other people by what's coming out of my mouth or what pops into my head and I know. I'm blown away by it. I'm fascinated by it. I do not take credit for it. I do not take credit for any healings or any messages. I'm just grateful they can happen.
I get real scared when those psychic things happen with me. I get very self-doubting and very scared of it. It almost feels like I'm kind of going crazy. I guess out of my control. It's not my normal. And I'm very uncomfortable. I haven't got to where I feel comfortable and trusted and go. It's just, I fight it.
Whoa, they're telling me to tell you. You already know this. When that happens, that's when you just, it's theirs. Let them have it. It's not attached to you. It's nothing to do with you. They need to do this. It's only for the good. Good's going to come out of it, and you have nothing to do with it. Don't worry about you being judged or anything. It's nothing to do with you. And they said that if you do that, the instant you do that, you'll feel 1,000,000 times better.
Yeah.
You feel that? Do you understand it?
Yeah. It's just, ever since my 5-year-old John, it was just like a week after that. I told a story, so I'm not going to tell it again, but I was led to go in this direction and had this spiritual experience. And I didn't put that together until I got older. It's like, well, wait a minute. When I was in my mid-20s, after my second NDE, I was led here. I was led there. I started being led a lot after my second NDE, like it jump-started everything. And I was just saving people left and right, like going down the road, pull over, somebody in the house, or sitting on the deck, go up the road right now. I'm like, why? Just go. And, there's an accident, you need to go because cops don't know this other person is involved and it was just, and when I was younger, I just did it. I just followed with it. But as I got older, I get scared. I was like,
Go back to being 5 years old again. You feel the pressure, just don't even question it. Do it. I had one. All of a sudden, I felt I had to go to a dollar store. I was across the street getting gas. Why do I have to go across the street to the dollar store? I went across, found something to buy, and there was a lot of people lined up with this one woman. There was nobody at the other one, but I was supposed to go in the line. So I did. When I got to the checkout woman, her grandmother came to me. Boom. And I said, dear, I have your grandmother with me. She tells me you have a son that's got a problem with his brain. I don't understand this, but she says, you go to the hospital with him, they want to send you home, hold your water. Don't go home, make them do a scan. I mean, I don't even know if she has a son. I mean, that's why I say to you, don't worry about it. It'll feel like a lie because it's their frame of reference, not yours. That's why messages, if you listen to your messages, they all feel like a lie. It's not your frame of reference. It's the sitter's frame of reference. They'll understand. Don't change your word. Don't look at it. Don't leave it alone. Whatever comes to your mind, whatever's coming out of your mouth, just let it happen. Don't try to take control of it. Don't understand it. Don't judge it. Don't let your right mind even touch it. And so I just let that happen. Well, shortly later, I can't remember exactly how it is. She's come on a few times and explained this to my group because she's still saying I saved her son's life. But I get a call. She says, "Thank you, you saved my son's life." I said, "What are you talking about?" I don't know when it happened, a day or so afterwards or what, but she found her son on the kitchen floor, unconscious, took him to the hospital. He had a stent in his brain, by the way. That was all correct. But he woke up before he got there. They checked him out. They were going to release him. And she says, "No, I want a scan." Well, the surgeon happened to be there in the hospital at that time. And they did somehow do a scan. I didn't ask the details. But the surgeon said to her, if he had come an hour later, he would have died. So she thanked me and says, "No, your grandmother saved your son's life. All I did is let myself get shoved into the dollar store."
yeah. I think people need to hear things like this because sometimes these things just happen and maybe it never happened to somebody before and they don't understand it. They walk in, like I walked in my mother-in-law's house one day. She said, "Oh, look what I did. I fell." She just had a little bruise on her leg. I said, "Wound care." I'm like, where did that come from? I'm like, I don't know why I just said that, but that's going to need wound care. It was just a bruise, but guess what? She ended up needing wound care. The thing got like this big hole and it wouldn't heal. And I kept driving her to wound care. And then they started coming to her house because this thing wouldn't heal. I'm like, I don't never said wound care before in my life.
Yeah. Oh, it's every day with me. I mean, I had, well, that situation with you yesterday. I had 3 others yesterday. I had another woman who lost her mother yesterday. And so this is the way I live. Some days it's nothing, and other days it's all day. I'll be walking to a store and get pulled to somebody. My setup with my guides is this: I don't go looking to bring a reading anywhere. I don't do it for me anyhow. But if they got to make a connection, I let them move me. I get pulled and pulled. And here's what I tell the people that I train: it's not your responsibility to make a reading happen. You get pulled to somebody, just let go, relax. That person, this whole thing is happening through that person also. They're going to say the right things. You're going to respond the right way. They're taking care of it. Allow it to happen. Do not take any responsibility for it happening, good or bad, or like you have to do something. No, just let it happen. And next thing you know, the mother or son, I had a son that had committed suicide, come to his mother, right in Home Depot. No, his father in Home Depot. It was amazing. He was blown away, hugged me. Oftentimes, before I can get out of a store, I get the hugs and the tears and the thank yous and all that, because they're happy tears. The most important thing, hon, that we get out of this conversation today is that nobody ends. No one ends. And we tend to think that way. Even, you're taught Christianity, they're up there playing a harp on a cloud. We don't believe that down deep inside. Not only do they not end, Einstein said that every atom is 99.9999% field, not particles. And that how atoms behave has nothing to do with the particles. The protons and neutrons, electrons, the quarks, and all of that. No, it's the field. All the intelligence in the universe is built into every atom of the universe. And if you study microbiology, you see this makes sense. Because you take in these small, what do you call these microorganisms we have in our gut? Some of them have a tail called a flagella, all right? There's actually 22 biological parts that are like electric motor to make that work, and the senses and the thing. They can make decisions. They know exactly where to go. You have up to 23 amino acids that make the protein, all right? The chances of making the right protein is 23 to the 22nd power, which is a jillions and jillions and jillions to one, yet they'll make perfect proteins millions of times a minute. Absolutely perfect every time. There's intelligence. The intelligence, we talk about the universe, we call God, we feel, sense every atom of our body. And if you realize that if virtually everything in this coffee cup is really not a coffee cup, because it's 99.999% intelligence, but we perceive it and we can hold it. So is any wonder that these top people in quantum physics are talking about parallel universes, that all this is happening as a perception? I don't know. But we're alive right now, and if there's a message I can bring to anybody out there, is you're expected, whatever our creation is, whatever this intelligence is, which is also us, we're expected to use this lifetime to not just pass through it, and to be a little selfish. Do things for yourself. Don't miss one bit of this experience here on Earth. And when we get sent back, boy, it was the best thing ever happened, because I'm not afraid of dying at all. Take me. I don't want to suffer much, but when I'm ready, when I get useless here, I'm ready for the next thing. And I know where I'm going. And I'm lucky because I still feel a lot of that love and a lot of what I had in that near death is with me all the time. So it helps me a lot. But whatever you're doing in your life, find some passion and exercise it. Play music, draw, do something, help people. The biggest extraction I have is I just love everybody, and I'm there to help everybody, anybody, or allow it to be. I think I'm cheating you. I don't help anybody. I ask them, whatever this is. I just call on them to go help somebody. We've had such miraculous healings that doctors don't want to talk about it. I mean, amazing healings. Friend of mine, Bobby Betts, the plumbing store. I hadn't seen him in 20 years. I walked in and something made me go down to his office, and he's there, and he's, "Hey, Moki, how you doing?" I says, "Bobby, how are you doing?" He had oxygen bottles and everything. He says, "I'm going to be dead in about 5 weeks," he says, because he smoked all his life. I said to him, I says, "I have a group that meets in my living room on Tuesday evenings. We're going to ask for you." He says, "I need a double lung transplant." This is all proven stuff here, by the way. The name is Bobby Betts. And I said, "I'm going to ask my group to ask for a pair of lungs for you." He says, "Won't do any good. I'm so sick that they can't operate. I have a hard tissue to match. So that was a Friday morning. I didn't learn till later that after I left there, he felt wonderful for the next 4 days. Somehow he just felt really good. But anyway, on Tuesday night, I had my whole group send intent for him to have a pair of lungs. The following Tuesday night at 5:30, I get a call from his wife saying that they're at Mass General Hospital and Bobby's going under the knife for a pair of 18-year-old lungs. And the doctor said God must have wanted to have those lungs because it was a rare tissue and it matched his, and he was healthy enough for the operation. And a dozen people ahead of him fell out. Bobby lived another 6 years. And told the story to my group on many occasions. And this is just typical. This is what happens. My daughter had a friend, she was out in Las Vegas in the Air Force. She called me up, a friend Lisa was found with loads of cancer and lymph nodes and everything else. And in 3 weeks, she's going in for exploratory, but she's probably not going to make it. And so we had the group send a healing. 3 weeks later, I get a call from her, 5:30 at night on Tuesday night. I don't know, this is their sense of humor up there or whatever it is. But anyway, she says, Lisa just got home from the hospital. Now, she went at 8 in the morning. I said, what? Something must have gone wrong to be that long. Well, no, they couldn't find any cancer. They kept going over it and over it and over it and over it. That's why she was in there so long. They sent her home. There's nothing wrong with her. I've got a bunch of stories, maybe for another time. It just goes on and on. And some are humorous. You got the story of Tinker. I had this woman one time in my living room, and I was bringing her a message. And I says, I've got a skunk with you. This one's about 65 years old. I think I was about that age. I said, I'm getting a skunk with you. And he's sending so much love and he's laughing. And she says, oh, that's Tinker. I said, what? When I was about 12 years old, they lived on a farm and a cat had a litter of kittens out in the mudroom before the house. They didn't let the cats in the house. And her mother saw that the cat was suckling a baby skunk one day along with the kittens. The kittens grew up and went off. The skunk became a family member. And they called him Tinker. They never had it fixed or anything, but he never sprayed. So they couldn't call him Stinker. They called him Tinker. She goes in the freshman year of college, and there's a call. No, I guess the teacher of the professor gets called by somebody out in the hall, who's the dean, I guess, comes back and she says, you need to go to the dean's office right now. And there's tears in her eyes. So she goes to the dean's office, the dean's there, tears in her eyes. She says, I have a phone call here for you and a number to call back regarding a family member that's passed. So she calls her mother up, Mom, who died? Oh, Tinker died. The skunk died. That's
Remember.
story. Oh, we're flying through this time.
Yeah,
Shall I
you
do
had,
that?
I'm sorry, what?
Want me to do that instruction thing for people?
Sure.
Folks, I run a workshop on Tuesday evenings, and we've spent 16, 17 years finding ways for people to learn how to communicate with their loved ones on the other side. All methods I've used have been somewhat productive, but we have stumbled across one based on a book called Awe, which is automatic writing. And so we tried doing some experiments, just to do them for a workshop. And I was a shop teacher. My job was to take mental things and apply them, find a practical application. Kind of fitting. Look what I am doing now. I have a workshop. We take things that are not hands-on and make them hands-on. Well, here's what you can do. Picture somebody that you really want to talk to, a mother or father or somebody that's passed. Every morning you get up, you have a coffee, you want to talk to them. And you probably have. And they've probably been answering, you just haven't heard it. I will guarantee all of you have lost somebody every time you think of them. And many times when you think of them, it's because they're coming to you. And that's why all of a sudden you think of them when you see a picture in your mind. They're trying to tell you something. But here's what you do. Have your cup of coffee or tea, whatever. get a pad of paper. Just write them a note. Any kind of a note. Just write to them. Say your thoughts about them. Just and allow your mind just to drift into about them and thoughts, because some of the things you're going to write down to them, they may be having you write those down. That's how this works sometimes, you know. Gee, all of a sudden I thought to ask this and this and this, and they get, yeah, well, they gave you the questions too, not just the answers. You just write something down and enjoy it. And don't try to build or make anything a forcing. Just pretend this is a lie. Just pretend it's not going to work. Just, but it feels good talking to my mother. I haven't talked to her. And, Mom, I'm thinking of you and this and this. And I thought I'd be here. And I put the pen down and have another sip of coffee or something. Just relax and pick it up and start to write again. And thoughts and things pop in your mind. It'll kind of happen. And you may find 1 or 2 times doing this, you realize, wait a minute, that's not me, it's my mother. She's saying that. Because don't forget, they have to use your mind. Your mind is a receiver and a transmitter. And most people are brainwashed thinking the only thing that you get in your brain is what you create, what you listen to and decide is worth having there and put there. The truth is 90% of everything that comes to your brain is coming from outside of you. And you learn to filter it very well. Once you let go of the filter and trust it, oh, wait a minute. As you write down. So this might take some of you, because you're naturally resistant, or think this isn't going to work and fight it a little bit. But trust me, you do this, you're going to be surprised. And it's going to be the most wonderful feeling. When that happens, they know they can reach you and you will feel fuzz going up your back or your earlobe will itch or this or that. And later on, you'll know when they want to talk to you, all of a sudden that same thing will happen. Whoop, sit down, start to write. After a while, you won't need to do that. You'd say, okay, what's up? And you just sit your eyes for a second and a thought will come to your mind. As I speak to you now, I have no idea how many of these words I created or were created by, I call myself a committee, whatever all this is. It works through me. I have an intent to say the right thing to you. I have an intent for you to try this. I have an intent for you to experience this love and this connection and know that they're with you all the time. No, you're never alone, and they haven't ended and you're not going to end. And that's my biggest message to you. And you can reach them. You can develop this. And Peggy, I sent you a letter, right? My newsletter. Did you check your emails? On that is my link for my Tuesday nights.
Okay.
And I say to people, and you can share that with anybody, that if you're going to come on a Tuesday night, come on about 10 minutes or 5 minutes of 7. So I can start at 7, you know. And we also have Tuesdays with Dave on Facebook. It is a private one, just for people that we want on there, but people are welcome to come on. Nancy will have to, you apply to be on, and Nancy will clear you in a day or two, and then you can, and what that is people talk about the things we do on Tuesday night. So I want to leave that with you. So I'm kind of done.
Earlier, you said that you kind of felt a Rosie around me, like someone by the name of Rosie.
Rosie or Rosalind or something. Let me see if I can pull it back in. And I feel, yeah, I feel like painting watercolors of things like scenery with watercolors. Makes me feel like that. But the feeling I'm getting is she wants you to do that.
Me to do what?
Doing watercolor paintings of flowers and stuff. I'm getting that with her, but my feeling is, I don't know if you used to do it or if she wants you to do it, but I feel it's being pointed towards you for some reason. And I'm also feeling, I feel blood with this, like this may be an aunt, a great aunt, or somebody. Come on, dear. She's thanking you for helping somebody. She's thanking you for saving somebody. feel like it's a 2-year-old boy. Now, this is a thank you. She's coming with a thank you to you. She was either with you or something about some 2-year-old boy. And she's just, whoa, she's just going through me. I don't know if you're feeling her or not, but she's going right through me. She's just bringing you so much thanks.
We took in my nephew, my sister's son, when he was 2 and adopted him a few years later.
Oh, she's
He's in
thanking
his 40s now. Yeah.
you. You think I made that stuff up? I shouldn't have said that. This is how it works, folks. This is it. And it's natural. It's absolutely natural. Allow it to be.
Yeah, I don't know what would have come of him. And that was one thing in my second NDE is, I wanted to be there to raise my boys. And the youngest one was that nephew. And we had permanent custody hearing on him the next week. And I'm in heaven, right? I can't be here. What's going to happen? If I'm not that hearing, my husband's not going to adopt him. This isn't his blood. It was, my sister's boy. And what's going to happen to him if we don't take him? Like, where's he going to go? What's going to happen to him? And it was like, I can't be here. People say, oh, there's this love. And it's like, I wasn't there for that. I wasn't there to feel the love. I wasn't there to have a good time. I was there kicking mat. I got to get back down to earth and raise my kids. And
Well,
so,
she's thanking you, and she says she's working with you on these things. And she's even taking credit for bringing me some of the things I brought you yesterday regarding your daughter. So she must be acting as a real strong guide here. Because she's a lot of strength. And she's got a lot of she says she brings with her a lot of very significant lifetimes.
okay. Well, it's been interesting. Was there anything else you wanted to add?
I think that I've got tons and tons of stories and things that I could bring you. I'd love to, maybe we can, if this works out and people would like to have more of a discussion, you and I, we can talk about some topics within this. And I mean, I've got pages of things are going in my book, the chapters, all kinds of things people can do to develop. And
When your book is published, do you want to come back on so we can put the link for your book?
yeah,
in
in fact, I'm in the very early stages of it. Got all the chapters outlined and the introduction done, but I don't want to make a paper book. I want to make an electronic book and a audio book. I really was doing this for my own kids and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. But my guides are telling me, yeah, they might have the book on the shelf, they'll never read it. And the people I need to reach right now, including your audience and others, because say I've got another one of these shows on the 6th of March. I think electronically, so they can download and read it, and audio is the way to go. It's my feeling right now, where my grandchildren, I'm 79 years old, and I have a 1 in 6 chance of seeing 90. 1 in 6.
How do
Which
you
is
find
okay.
that out?
Hmm?
How do you find that out? Just
I Googled it.
statistics of how long men live?
I Googled. I says, what's the percentage chance of a man that's 80 years old living to be 90? And they said 15 to 16%, which is a 1 in 6. If I am perfectly healthy, I work out every day. Once a day, I eat non-processed foods. I'm very careful with that. Mentally, I work on things. I've got the book going. I'm studying biochemistry right now. I play. I've learned to play this year. I'm playing a lot of guitar. I play keyboard, saxophone, and ukulele and bass and all those things. So I stay active. I do that in the summertime on the lake. Always building things. A lot of hobbies, and trying to stay mentally active.
You don't look 79.
I look 89.
No, maybe 69.
I feel great. And I just went to the doctors the other day, and the only thing that ticked me off is I weigh 181 pounds. All right. He says I should weigh 150 pounds. I'm 5'10".
What?
Excuse me. I'm not
That's too
19 years old,
thin.
and I'm muscled up. I
Oh.
work out. I do 400 reps on the machine every day.
No, I don't agree with your doctor.
Yeah, I'm pretty decent shape. Wasn't always. I was 215 pounds a few years ago, and physically I was starting to fall apart. So I did something about it. Understand this: you have a fantastic in this country, in the history of mankind. You have the best time here. Don't waste it. And you need your body, so you need to take care of your body. Can only generate cells with a proper food. And your muscles can only stay muscles if you work them. So you have to earn your pleasures here. You have to
Your place
earn,
here. Yeah.
yeah,
What we
and
took
take
for
care of
granted.
yourself.
Yeah. My husband and I started a fitness center and diet like over 2 weeks ago. And he's lost 20 pounds. I've lost 10. He went to the doctor for his foot surgery the other day, took his blood pressure, and it was 118. And 3 weeks ago, when we had our assessment, we started working out. It wasn't good. His blood pressure wasn't so good. So he's real happy.
That's good.
He's telling
Yeah,
everybody that when was working out yesterday, all the trainers, what his blood pressure was. He's like, I'm gonna have to put that on your t-shirt. My blood pressure is 118 because he's just telling everybody what my blood pressure is, what his blood pressure is. So
great. It's been a real pleasure visiting with you. I forgot that we were even broadcasting. I just been just
yeah, that's the way I like it.
visiting with you as a friend, you know.
Yeah. I think
Getting
that's why people like the channel. It's laid back. I mean,
yeah,
that's just how I am. So it works out and it's the way some people respond to it and others don't. Some want, the bells and whistles. I'm not about that. I'm not fancy introductions. I'm not, it's just sit and have a
yeah,
conversation and be real because this is a real topic.
yeah. And this is kind of the way I came to this. I just had some things that of note that might be interesting, but I pretty much hardly looked at it. It's just let it
Yeah.
evolve. My guides are it's a thing too. As I had this coming up, my guides wouldn't even let me prepare this morning. I put that sheet together yesterday. And they made me watch. I was going to look at other near-death things. Just one, they wouldn't let me do it. They made me pick up my guitar and put on some of these Joanne Cooper songs. The cover sheets, they put the chords and the words in so you can play with them. I spent an hour just playing the guitar before I came on. But I did get on early and make sure the Zoom was working. I didn't have any problems. And I had you up, Then I went up and grabbed the coffee, and that's Murphy again. The second I love the coffee, then you're going to come on. So I wasn't surprised at all.
I watched the Hank Williams Jr. story before I come on.
Oh, really?
I
Oh,
hadn't watched it in years. I wanted to see it again. So
I'm gonna have to watch that. I've seen the story of his father, but
yeah, I've
his
seen that one
songs
too. This is a
still
lot better.
his songs are still precious songs. They really speak to the
Yeah.
heart. I mean,
He had a spiritual experience. It didn't go a lot, it didn't go into it in a movie, but other places I've heard that he had a spiritual experience when he fell off that cliff. Hank Williams Jr. There's 4 hours, a little boy, 11-year-old boy sat with him. And while the dad went to get help, and in that 4 hours, he kind of had a come to Jesus moment
hmm.
and with his dad, who's had passed, of course, by then because he died when he was 2. So
That's the other thing I get the feeling of this intelligence that's responsible for virtually the universe. And I mean, we think we're the only thing with life. I mean, it's just finding out with this James Webb telescope that the universe as we knew before, thought we knew, is just a speck of sand on a very large beach. And it reminds me of a parable I saw when I was going to college. I'd taken educational philosophy. And first chapter, they had this parable at the bottom. It was about a camel. Camel's walking on hot sands, and these microbes in the crack in the hoof of the camel, and they're growing in there, and they only live a few minutes. So, they get born, they fall in love, they have babies, they examine the universe, and they die in just 2, 3 minutes. So the before they die, these very educated ones say that look at when it's dark, it's very, very, very hot, extremely hot, and that's nighttime. And then when it's light and you can see, it's cooler and it's beautiful and it's bright and it's cool. Because as the camel's hoof comes off the hot sand, it's cooler and light. Back on the hot sand, it's hot and dark. And that worked incredibly well until the camel came to a stream. Maybe we are microbes in the hoof of a camel with our experience here. That's how tiny this may be.
We'll find out, won't we? We'll be able to come
Maybe,
back to
maybe not.
everybody.
I don't think we need to find out. I think we just need to listen and be whatever we're supposed to be at the moment. We're going to understand it when we're on the other side, but that gets erased. We're not supposed to understand it here. It's not necessary for our experience here. Maybe that'll help people too. I don't know. Don't worry
I
about
think I
what's out.
think we are supposed to be who we are when we're here, not try to fit in. We do that in school. We learn that, trying to fit in, and then careers and trying to prove to everybody this and prove to ourselves that. And then it's like until we get older, a lot of us don't realize how wonderful it is to be yourself and
Mhm.
do what you want to do. You know, if you
Yeah.
like to play music or if you like to sew, you like to dance, if don't matter if you're any good at it, get in that creativity mode and just enjoy being here and being creative. And
Well,
you
we need
talked
to.
about just tell a lie, just like your automatic writing, just start and believe that it's true just for the fun of it. And I'm thinking when you said that, that's getting that creative zone. And I believe that is where our spirituality lies, is in that creative space. And the reason I say that is one day I stepped off my couch. It was early, or off the front porch, not the couch. And it was still dark out. I was taking the dog out to use the bathroom, and something just come to me so clear in the morning breeze, is that um, God don't give us things without a rescue. And we're so depressed and down on everything. If we go to that creative place, that's the rescue. And I turned around as I'm bringing the dog back, and I just stopped. All the times I've stopped and looked at my house, I never thought this, but this, and I looked at my house because after when my second NDE was, I lost my twins, and I started drawing house plans because I was so depressed. And I was getting in this creative place, like 5 minutes, 5 hours would go by, and it felt like 5 minutes. And I started realizing when you get really down with life, for whatever reason, it could be physical pain, you lost someone, whatever, get that creative space going. Get in there, because there nothing hurts.
Mhm.
Nothing, you don't have those worries, you don't have the bad memories. And you go in that creative space, it's like a playground.
I got two thoughts on that. I call that the wonder parking lot.
Hmm.
And it's like this, 'cause don't forget, this is what I do most of the time. I have people I am teaching how to do what I'm doing. And one of the things I found, because I have to analyze what's happening with me. When I wonder about something, if I'm going to wonder, gee, I wonder what I should say about this. I wonder what I should say. Right now, if you try to wonder about me for a moment, you're making a space for the answer, aren't you? You're
Mhm.
putting out for an answer to come to you. Am I correct?
Yeah.
That's how we get connected to this connection that's trying to talk to us. We never give it room. We never give it a space to use a wonder. Gee, a wonder, and all of a sudden, your brain goes into a stop mode for a little bit. A lot of times, if you're driving the car, you put the brake on, all of a sudden, uh, something you're trying to remember, or maybe your mother or something in the past, all of a sudden pops in your head. Because that is the moment that your brain goes into a break. It stops for a second. When you wonder, you're shutting off your thinking brain and your listening brain. So that's what I call a wonder pocket or wonder space that we use. In automatic writing, you're automatically doing that. But you got a writing mode. Also, in automatic writing, you're sending a specific intent for a specific person's attention for a specific something. The biggest problem with teaching people a medium is that they're all over the place. So there's no specific intention. And what I say to anybody who's bringing messages, this is what I do. If I was to bring you a message, I would say, whoever loves Pegi and is around Pegi, let her know who you are, and I like names, and bring her something she needs right now. That's my universal thing. And because basically it does this that a lot of mediums don't do. This gives them the authority to do it their way. some mediums, they'll ask questions. I wonder how tall you are, or what's your house look, or bring me information about yourself. I have been in churches and places where mediums are working and their loved ones are screaming. You just let me talk to my daughter? Don't ask me questions. Let me just listen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing this is the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, and for everybody it's different too. Like what works for you, and how I pick up things is, like my daughter missing. I was told February 11th she was missing. I heard from her 2 months, and it was gradual. Like, what's going on? What's going on? And then something just kicked in gear. Like, find out what's wrong. You find. And I wasn't sleeping. I couldn't think about anything else. My husband's like, let's go do this. Like, I gotta find her. I gotta find her. Like, we were almost ready to get in our vehicle and go to Virginia, because my husband's like, do you want to go? I was like, just wait. And then when I talked to that second cop yesterday and I hung up, and then you called right after that, I was had just got in that relaxing mode. I knew that cop was going to take care of it. I knew he's going to find her. I didn't know what he was going to tell me. I didn't know the outcome, but I knew I did my job. I knew I did what I was led to do. And then now they do their part. And then, last night got
You
the
recall
call.
what I said to you at that time?
Pardon
You
me?
recall what I said to you at that time in the phone conversation? I says, I'm getting a good feeling. I feel it rushing towards you right now.
Yeah.
Remember? I had FBI in my mind for some reason, but it's going to be okay. And I have it rushing towards you, like coming right
Yeah.
at you.
Yeah, like I felt like they're taking care of it. Like all these people are like getting together, and it's like charged now. Where the cop the 2 days before was, she's not here.
Yeah.
Like, look somewhere else. She's not here. I'm like, bull crap, she is too. And I didn't stop. I was contacting people on Facebook. I was talking and I was like, I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping. I can't stop. And then as soon as I talked to him, I was like, he didn't tell me what this is going to do. He just said, okay. The other cop didn't relay the information or whatever, like they're taking care of it now. I'm like, and I just like, this is taken care of. Whatever happened to her, I'll get the answer soon.
Yeah.
And you were like, it's coming soon. And so I'm glad everything
Put
went
their
fine.
shoes on, know why they had to do that. They didn't want to spook it. They didn't want to make a
Right.
promise that it's fall apart and disappoint you. They have it coming. They don't want to mess it up. That's what was going on.
Yeah. I just had to get their attention. And until I did, I wasn't resting. So,
Yep.
but I appreciate your help. And it's been interesting today. I'll get this sent out to you and you'll get it later today.
Okay. One quick thing.
Yeah.
I have some tremendous mediums who've had near-death experiences.
Okay.
Should I send them your way?
Sure. Sure. Absolutely. I love talking to mediums. I've had a lot on and when I first started, because a friend of mine knew a bunch of them. And he was sending my way. And so I haven't had any long time. So they're always
Oh,
interesting.
come join us on Tuesday night. Meet some of these people. I think you'll have a
Okay.
ball. I
Okay.
really think you'll enjoy. You'll feel at home. Everybody tells me that on Tuesday nights it's all love, and there's a lot of mediums come and go. There's no comparison. There's no judgment. It's just all love, and everybody's there for everybody. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. So I
Okay.
certainly would enjoy you enjoying it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you
I'll
very
talk
much
to
for
you.
having me on. And for anybody out there, if this hasn't been edited out,
Nope.
I wish
Yeah,
you the
nothing
best.
edits out, but our chit chat at the beginning. That's it.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever.
Okay. All right.
Love
I'll
you.
see.
Stay in touch with me. I think
Okay.
we're going to work together in a lot of ways.
Okay. You got my number.
You have my number.
Okay.
Between us, we'll make it happen.
Okay.